We are about storytelling.
Educating people to take initiative to change.
We are half a film company and half an activist company.
It's a hybrid, if you will. It's about investing in projects that can affect lives and help people.
Films let us actually take an intimate look at someone's life and relate it to policy and the politics and what we're trying to make changes around.
Our films are designed to engage and motivate people to take action.
Fight the prison profiteers.
All your senators and representatives.
Tell Congress to
sign
pass.
the clip.
You can join
Sign our online petition.
You get to listen to these voices and you get to hear these stories of people that haven't been heard from because no one's paying attention.
What we're here to do is say, how can we engage you? How can we reach you? And then what will you do as a result? When BNF started, there were 2 rooms, and the 3 of us were divided between the 2 rooms.
It was a small startup. The budget was very small.
And it seemed a little bit insane that we could keep a company going that would make films regularly. It's been 10 years now, and literally every day I still get up with this feeling of amazement that I'm able to do this work, and the incredible women and men who join in this battle that we take on every day.
And the issues are the issues that I really care about justice and security.
I came from a lower income background, and so a lot of the issues that we deal with directly affect people who were just like me growing up, and I want our films to help them have better lives.
When I found Brave New Films, the one thing that I thought was going to be my Achilles heels actually turned out to be my strongest asset. Dealing with cops and dealing with gun violence and drugs and all that other stuff. To be able to go in and go back to some of the same neighborhoods that look like the neighborhoods I grew up in, and being able to share that with people to help affect change was the best way to utilize any type of film capabilities I would have.
I decided to make the transition from commercial film and television because I reached a certain point in my life and several incidents came together. One was 9/11. At the time, thinking, what was this country going to be like when we were focused almost exclusively on revenge? And then the other factor was the death of my father. One of the wonderful things he passed on to me was this notion that you do more than is in your narrow self-interest.
The primary reason that I wanted to work here is because of the projects that we do, the possibility of affecting people's lives. To me, that's extremely important.
The danger to our country is grave. The danger to our country is growing.
We were not being told the truth about the reasons for the Iraq War.
I saw it as a deliberate attempt to selectively take information and try to basically say Iraq poses an imminent nuclear threat and therefore action is absolutely necessary. And I felt that was absolutely wrong.
It was after the uncovered screening and somebody said, "Thank you for making the film." So I realized that what we were doing was important to these people because it reaffirmed what they all felt.
We were interviewing Ambassador Joe Wilson, and Joe was giving us all of this information that no one, I believe, in the world knew at the time. That was the moment that crystallized, this is a great place, this is a great project. So that was the reason why I continued to work with Brave New Films.
There is no journalism at the Fox News Channel.
It was just attack politics on a TV channel.
I came here because I saw Outfoxed. It stunned me that people at a supposed legitimate news channel were allowed to do this.
We decided to pursue, investigate, expose, but using their clips.
Clearly, on the Republican side, what we do know is that for years they have coordinated what they call their message of the day.
And you're saying he flip-flopped on the issue of this?
Because he does seem to agonize and flip-flop over and over and over again.
He's flip-flopped on all these issues. Beneath Kerry's flip-flopping
Is an opportunistic flip-flopper.
Robert Greenwald, as you may know, is a propagandist who put out the dishonest Outfox documentary. He's a radical progressive who blames America first.
When Bill O'Reilly and others started attacking me on the air, it hit me pretty quickly that this was an incredible accomplishment.
The guy is just a ridiculous human being.
And they're like, yeah, I mean, everybody knows, like, Fox News is conservative. I'm like, yeah, you want to know why? It was because of that movie.
It was pretty amazing to see how far we had come from a period where Democratic politicians were defending Fox to a point where now the president and others were saying very openly, no, you are a biased network.
They use the shadowy right-wing organization as a front. Hello, Fox News.
House parties have become a really wonderful and fairly common organizing tool. Brave New Films really pioneered the use of house parties. House parties are really a bridge between watching a film and concrete ways to take local as well as national action around them.
Retail giant Wal Mart is encouraging its workers to go on welfare.
Instead of paying for its employees to have health benefits, she says Walmart is making the government take care of it.
Walmart stuck with me as a story that sprung from the people who were being affected by it. When it was shown to be actually a destructive force that was shutting down small businesses and refusing to pay workers a fair wage, I think that's what really changed people's minds about Walmart.
Before we filmed, we had a meeting in our courtyard here in Culver City. Over 100 groups that were all involved in working around Walmart.
There's labor unions, school organizations, worker rights groups, community organizations.
Said we committed 6 months later there was going to be a finished film. And we wanted to do was start everybody organizing. We had thousands of screenings that we knew about and then lots of others that we didn't even know about.
Walmart has set up a campaign-style war room to counter its critics. The company has shot back with video spots.
It seems the special interest propaganda machine behind the attacks against Walmart now includes video maker Robert Greenwald.
It began to have a real impact on Walmart trying to change some of their policies.
Can this administration take the military to war to feed the greed of contractors?
What we had done in the first film was talk about the reasons that we were given for the war. This film we were going to talk about the profiteering, the money that was being made, and the lives that were being lost.
This war has been privatized to a greater extent than any other war in history.
Cases of fraud and incompetence by other contractors at the same time they were under investigation.
One of the reasons I got called before Congress was in investigating and making the film. I had all kinds of information that Congress did not have.
We were overwhelmed by the amount of people who responded. I mean, over the course of the week, we had over 7,000 screenings. We were able to raise money with t-shirts and producer credits and posters and different things. People saying, hey, I want to be a producer, here's $25. The end crawl of the movie lists these thousands of people. We certainly started doing this before Kickstarter, and now it's become certainly the norm.
What we're doing at Brave New Films on our Rethink Afghanistan campaign, we're asking a series of core questions. What is the strategy? How many troops? What is the cost? And how do we know when it's time to leave?
Rethink Afghanistan was really put out there so that people would start thinking about why we're doing this.
I was able, by raising funds from our supporters, to go to Afghanistan. You don't need to be there more than a couple of minutes to realize a country with profound problems, none of which were going to be solved by invading and occupying.
It was a very tough time for us because we got a lot of blowback from supporters who said, you should not be making this movie. President Obama had just recently come into office and he was pushing for a surge and we have to give him a chance. And when Newsweek came out and validated our point of view, it was great for us.
I think we took on the Koch brothers because they were kind of the puppeteers behind the scenes. It was Robert's foresight to want to pull back the curtain to let the world know and see who these guys are.
I don't admire the Koch brothers. I'm not against people who make money, that's fine. But what they do with their money isn't fine with me.
They are interested in using the money they make to buy a political system.
The Koch brothers not only want to destroy unions, but they want to destroy the lives of working people across this country.
It was a story about fundamental greed.
And we had artist Shepard Fairey, who designed a t-shirt for us, to me became a phenomenon.
Let's take you live to the Capitol Visitor Center, where this event featuring the re-release of this movie, Koch Brothers Exposed, by filmmaker Robert Greenwald, is due to get underway momentarily.
I've been in contact with someone from Senator Reid's office, and they suggested maybe something could happen where we do an event in DC in an effort to get more people aware of what the film does. Senator Reid and his office took the lead, Leader Pelosi joined, and suddenly we had an event that was unimaginable.
Great to see a movie that is true.
The Koch brothers now putting forward a different image because they're getting hurt.
It meant that we were having an impact.
I knew that if I remained silent, that I would be an accessory to a crime. I ultimately chose, I've made a fateful decision, to go to the press.
I love reading newspapers. I've learned so much, so many stories that I never would have known about, where people were exposed, great investigative journalism, and I got scared. I mean, I really got scared that the reporters and the whistleblowers were going to be silenced. These were strong personal stories of the whistleblowers, and if I could marry them with the investigative journalists who put their stories forward, that could be an interesting and impactful film.
We released it in April. Things started bubbling up that week with Manning, and then right after that with Snowden, and it was just, the timing was truly amazing.
The introduction is like, this is what we do. We kill people and break things.
More than 1,400 civilian Pakistanis have been killed in drone strikes.
Unmanned was unique for us. We were looking through a different lens, or looking through the lens of what was actually happening to these citizens.
Each major television network there in Pakistan, they wanted to show the film. And so what we did was we allowed all of the stations to show it at the same exact time or during the same period. Their concerns about drones were legitimized outside of Pakistan. And with this film, they had a tool to show the world what was going on.
One of my favorite experiences working with Brave New Films was working on the unmanned congressional briefing that we held, watching the first set of drone survivors come and speak to Congress. You know, that was history in the making. We were on CNN, MSNBC, the Washington Post, and the New York Times cover us. We really were able to shine a light on what our drones were doing across the globe.
Our company is divided into two divisions, the features and the short side.
We talk with the political team and figure out what the aims of the video are, what the audience is, and then we develop a concept based on that.
They're quick, they're fast, they can be produced quickly and then distributed quickly.
For short films, groups are extremely important. Because groups are the ones that are on the front lines every day, they give us access to the stories, to the research. So when we work with groups, we're able to incorporate the work they're doing on the ground and the information they have into the making of our films.
The Real McCain, which was one of our early shorts, was successful. Politicians weren't aware that everything on video now is accessible. So a politician could say, I never said that. We put it together, and there it was, the contradiction.
Neighborhoods are safe. We walk down the streets with no body armor on.
McCain's delegation was guarded by more than 100 American soldiers and 2 Apache gunships overhead.
Plus, we got to do more than just one thing. A documentary will take a year if you're lucky.
The United States now has a higher percentage of its people behind bars than any country on earth.
There's 3 toxic waste dumps, and all 3 of them are in low-income minority communities.
$1.5 trillion for a plan that so far has not worked.
Is this all the money you got?
All of it.
Cuéntame.
Cuéntame. Cuéntame.
Cuéntame means tell me your story or count me in. And that's exactly what we decided to do when we first started, to really mobilize and create a community of Latinos for Latinos, but the public in general, around specific campaigns and topics that impacted our community greatly.
About 6 years ago was when we started with Cuéntame. And this was was something that our staff was very passionate about. They felt very strongly that we were not doing enough around the Latino community. We built this infrastructure based on a younger audience, based on Facebook, which was a new platform for us at the time.
What Beyond Bars does is visual storytelling, something dramatic that touches you in your heart and helps articulate why it's so important to curb mass incarceration.
When I first learned about BNF, I looked at the Prison Profiteers series, and I really liked it because they were quick but packed full of information that I hadn't known about before.
Guess what corporation makes an estimated $1.4 billion a year off sick prisoners?
Mass incarceration wasn't being talked about. How could it not be talked about given the size and scope of the problem, given the class elements, given the racial elements, the lives that were being destroyed by a system that was running amok? There was an opportunity that hopefully we could do something about.
It's time to think beyond bars.
We've tried to make sure that the information that we have discovered is available for other organizations. We've tried to put together programs, and one of them is this media boot camp that we've done over the past few years, and that was set in place so that we could teach organizations how to do the work that we do.
Right now I am in charge of the Educators Program, which brings our stories to universities and high schools, and then the Community Screenings Program. You can ask the lawyer in your community, the pastor, the teacher, what can we do together to make this better?
BNF has been literally 5 different companies in the last 10 years. That's an important part of the nature of BNF and Robert, constantly changing, constantly evolving.
When BNF was founded, YouTube and Facebook didn't exist, and now they're ubiquitous in the culture and they're absolutely vital to what we do. So all that says to me is that 10 years from now, the things that will be most important to us are the things that I don't even know about sitting here right now. And that's something we have to be prepared for and embrace and use that and make sure that whatever new medium people step into, the cause of social justice is a part of those stories that are being told.
I think stories are the way we make sense of our whole world. I definitely want to be in a place where the point of the storytelling is to make a big difference.
And what's great is every day when I get up in the morning, I'm ready and raring to go because we're doing great work that's making an impact in ways that I never would have thought even imaginable in my life.
This is the route that I think I want to go for the rest of my life, using film as a medium to create change.
People need to know about these things because the people in power are always going to try to take advantage of the people who don't have power.
I would be very proud if one of the videos I made was the video that people said, I saw this and it motivated me to take a stand and go out in the street and protest.
And hopefully the films that we make today will inspire the next wave of activists and filmmakers.
The system of inequity is being challenged. In a way, it wasn't questioned when we started. So it makes the opportunities for what Brave New Films does even more significant.
Where some of even the most progressive voices, where they won't go, we should go, and we should bring them with us.
No matter who's against us, mass media, big corporations, government, we're going to keep going because we have to tell these stories. Our job is telling the truth to make the world a better place.